John F. Kennedy once said, "Our progress as a nation can be no swifter than our progress in education." More than 3 decades later, his words still ring true. In today's complex world, where finding success in life often begins with success in school.
It is every child's right, access to an education that will prepare them to succeed in life. For most children, the school years are a happy, positive time of learning and exploring the world around them. But for millions of children with developmental disabilities, it can be a time of isolation, misunderstanding, and failure.
Sometimes persons with developmental delays also have issues related to communication, and they may use their behavior to communicate. So staff need to understand that some of the behaviors they have to deal with may just be them trying to tell you something, get your attention, and communicate with you.
Teaching these special children continues to be a challenge for many learning institutions today. Experts agree that a multimodal approach that focuses on individual strengths while reinforcing positive behaviors can be the most effective way to help these children learn and flourish.
I think it's important that staff working with people with delays or exceptional needs understand that it's probably us that has to change our response, our behavior, as opposed to expect them to change their behavior. They need to have a very person-centered approach where the behavior from one student may be different than the behavior for another student. What I do with Sarah might be different than what I do with Rob. The best way to respond to some of those behaviors is change our approach, change our attitude, keep a very person-centered approach toward care.
Committed to unlocking the potential in each and every child, the Chileda Institute in La Crosse, Wisconsin has pioneered this approach and has a history of succeeding with children who have failed elsewhere. The Chileda Institute is a living learning program for children and young adults aged 6 to 21 with developmental disabilities and challenging behaviors. At Chileda, the focus is on the ability in disability.
Chileda Institute is unique because we take the children who have really proven to be a challenge for other programs. That is, that they've gone through other programs and realized that there must be something else. There are other supports and systems that maybe they haven't tried yet. And our program is such that we really teach with empathy and compassion and a lot of patience. We're not a punitive system, so we want to teach the children who have behavioral issues to replace behaviors, to work with their behaviors that they have, and oftentimes interventions that we can do here that they can't do in maybe the public school, for example.
This is accomplished through a unique, individualized educational and behavioral plan that is designed to fulfill a special child's exceptional spectrum of needs.
At Chileda, we use several different teaching and learning methods, but what we start with is a high staff ratio. So we have 1 staff to 2 students, typically, unless of course a student needs additional care from that. But we also really create environments that are very visual, often very tactile, sensory. We involve sound where it's necessary. It's creating an individualized environment for each child, an individualized learning strategy for each child.
My daughter was having significant emotional behavioral problems at home and we just couldn't manage it anymore, so we asked our local mental health agency to help us find a placement for her, and Chileda was one of the ones that was offered. It was the one that seemed least like an institution and more like a typical living environment for her. She's been here for 1.5 years and we just couldn't be more pleased with the growth, either both social and emotional, that she has had. The staff has been incredibly wonderful in helping her achieve those goals.
What led us to Chileda are Bethany's behaviors. When she was younger, she was very violent at times. We realized she needed professional help. The first place she went is across the state. It was at their recommendation that she come to Chileda because Chileda was able to provide for her the 24-hour-a-day constant care that she needs to do well.
The high ratio of staff to students and comfortable, loving environment create an atmosphere that the children and young adults of Chileda can call home.
Chileda really is anything but an institution. We really are a home for many of the children that are here. So we want to make sure that it feels like home. So they go to school during the day, and after school they go back to their houses, and there's a community area where they can play games. There's things in the house in each child's bedroom that reflects them and their personalities. We want this to feel like a home. On the weekends, they have an opportunity to do weekend activities just like many of our kids would do at home, go on outings and such when they're ready to do that.
The staff at Chileda has done a terrific job in creating an atmosphere that is home-like. The children live in a house, not in an institutional setting. They have regular activities. They do scouting. They have sports groups. The children are out in the community. They'll go to the library. They go to the grocery store. They go to the parks. They're out in the community all the time. It's very similar to the type of life a child would have when they're living with their parents in a home as opposed to living in an institutional setting.
We chose Chileda for Bethany because it's close to where we live, and they also have a national reputation for doing excellent work with children with extreme behavioral needs and issues. And for her, it truly is home because Chileda has such a family atmosphere. They have people who truly care about each other here and who look out for each other.
When Bethany's behaviors started to exhibit themselves and they got really severe, we were fortunate enough to have Chileda here, blessed enough to have their facilities available to us, and very blessed to have the people who work here care for her to make this very much a home for her.
The Chileda Institute, an extraordinary place for extraordinary children. To find out more, please visit www.chileda.org.